Welcome, everybody, to the Sheridan Report, brought to you by MyBookie.Ag. To find out more about MyBookie.Ag, go to thegreellytruth.com, click on the MyBookie.Ag banner at the top of the page, and it will give you on your first deposit a 100% cash bonus up to $300. I am your co-host for the Sheridan Report, Mike Goodpasser. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host, as always, from the Sheridan Report, Bobby Sheridan. How you doing, Bobby?
Hey, Mike, I would have been doing a hell of a lot better if those 50-50 games last night. We had 3 of them. If they would have gone our way, they were all right there at the very end, sitting there in position, and we were ready to have a huge score, and it went against us. But you know what the great thing is, Mike? The next day you come right back on the horse, and you get it again.
All right.
Here we are today. Let's do it.
What horse are we riding in the NBA tonight, Bobby?
All right, Mike. Well, you know what? We almost got a lucky cover last night with Houston, but that's okay. That one went to Golden State. We're going to bounce back, and we're going to get Game 2 tonight in this Portland-Denver series. And Portland, stays in Denver. They're getting 4 points. It lines up to 4 now. And I like the Blazers. And this is the team, Mike, that we both were on at the start of the series. But I put a little halt. If you remember, I said, well, I think Game 1, Denver has the edges here. We talked about that, and I wound up being right on that, okay? But here is where the series really starts, and Portland's going to come out tonight and hammer them. I like the Blazers tonight. This is a top play for me. They're plus $1.60 on the money line, which is up from $1.50, and they're plus 4, which is up from 3.5. So Denver, actually the favorite, has gotten the money today. I don't quite agree with this, but that's fine. We'll take the 4 points. We'll take the 160. And I think we'll have a winner tonight. That's a 6:10 start Pacific time. What are your thoughts, Mike?
I agree. There's nothing else I can add. I think Portland is the better team. I think Portland will win this game, and it wouldn't surprise me if this is over in 5.
I agree with you. 5 or 6 is what I'm thinking here. I think the Blazers will probably end it at home in the 6th game. And that means they win 4 of the next 5, but they're capable. And let's face it, Damian Lillard has had an MVP-type season. He probably won't get it. I don't know. He may or he may not. He probably, Antetokounmpo probably will get it, or Harden or something. But I think this guy is getting the due that he deserves now, and he's going to lead them to the win tonight. He's much more consistent than Murray. Murray is the key. Jokic is the MVP of Denver, okay? But Murray's the key, because when he plays really well, they can be tough to beat. But he's very sporadic. He played a great game in Game 1. What will he do here? I wouldn't bet on him. But one thing we know, Lillard's going to bring his game. The other guard, McCollum's going to bring his game. Here is where the difference lies. You said it on the Survive and Advance show. Those 2 forwards, Harkless and Aminu, they played well below standard Game 1. And if they just step up and play to their normal level tonight, Portland's going to have a win in this game.
I agree. You want to go NHL for a little bit? Last night we split, and
yeah, let's go NHL. We split those last night. What are your thoughts tonight?
I like the home teams. I like the Hurricanes. I like the Stars. I don't think the Blues have played up to their capabilities. The Blues and the Islanders both. I think these games are pretty much toss-ups, and the odds kind of reflect that. I think the Hurricanes are going to be really tough to beat at home. And I think the Stars right now are just playing a little bit better than the Blues. But it's the NHL. And I can tell you this. I've never watched more hockey in my life than I have the last few weeks. The games last night were great games. I didn't like the last 5 minutes of the Avalanche Sharks games. But I love the hockey right now. And tomorrow on Survive and Advance, live at noon, we will have hockey writer Sam McGinnis in. May have a special guest from the Columbus Blue Jackets we're working on right now. And we're going to look at all these playoff series and just give a rundown of where it's at. And also, you get to hear Steve Risley try to talk about hockey, which right there, nothing's more fun than that.
Or a cornhole conversation from today when he better step up and take your.
I'll tell you what, if you're listening to this and you've not heard Survive and Advance, we had the president of the American Cornhole Organization on yesterday, and he offered for me and Risley to play at the Westgate Hotel at 3 o'clock the day of their World Championships. They're going to televise it. We could do a show on it, and Risley doesn't want to do it. So if you're out there, Steve Risley is S. Risley 34. make sure you send him a tweet telling him he needs to play cornhole against me in Vegas, and maybe do a hashtag. I don't know what's a good hashtag here, Bobby.
Hashtag Mike versus Steve.
Nah, hashtag Steve's a big wussy. Hashtag
Okay.
Steve's a wuss. There you go. Steve's a wuss hashtag. Let's get that trending and let's get this done. But yeah, the big play tonight, I think, for me is, and it's about even money, the Hurricanes and the Islanders, Bobby.
Okay, so the Hurricanes is who your top play is in the hockey. Okay, that sounds good, Mike. We'll figure out something to do with that. How about we hook up 3 top plays all together? We do Portland, which is my top play in the NBA, Hurricanes, which is your top play in the NHL, and then how about top play in baseball? And we'll go over that right now.
All right, so give us what you got in baseball.
All right, top play in baseball, and I want to talk a little bit about baseball today in terms of we got 2 doubleheaders that are today, and I had a late ad, which I'm going to check it right now how it's doing. It's 3-2. I had a late ad on the Royals. That I put that on Twitter about 10 a.m. It was only 10 minutes before start time, but I did put that out. I did make some phone calls, so it was out there a little bit. I liked the Kansas City in Game 1. I thought they had a pitching matchup advantage there of Junis over the opener. The opener was Stanek, and Stanek got hit for 3 runs in the first. So we've got the lead in that game, 3-2. And there's a second game in that doubleheader today. This is due to weather yesterday, and the second game has Tampa Bay with their ace Blake Snell. So the thought process there could be you could add Snell as a mix and match selection in Game 2, because there's a long-standing sort of system that MLB doubleheaders, they often split. So you take the team opposite that did not win the first game, and you've got a matchup like a Snell. There's a good opportunity for Tampa Bay to get the split behind their ace. Kansas City is throwing a knuckleballer, Glenn Sparkman, in Game 2. So let's see if KC can hold on to that one, and if Tampa Bay becomes a play there for mix and match. And then the other doubleheader is something to look at. The White Sox are playing Game 1 at 1:10. This is again from weather yesterday, and they have the matchup advantage in Game 1 with Carlos Rodon. So I would look at the White Sox mix and match, because they're $1.85 for Game 1. You can put them in some parlay action. And then the Game 2 matchup would be more likely that the Orioles could take that game, because they're a smaller dog that game with Andrew Kashner over a very vulnerable Ivan Nova. So I think that's the way that doubleheader could go. Now, as far as the report goes, as it was written last night, my plays, I've got a top play, and I'm going with the Colorado Rockies. And if you remember, Mike and fans, we had Colorado Game 1 with Freeland in this series. This is a rematch of the NLDS from last year. And so I certainly did not expect the Rockies coming in playing 8-3. They were 8 out of their last 11, had kind of gotten their footing on this season. I did not expect a sweep here, and they need to win this game to being kept from being sweep. And this is without Yelich, who's been in the lineup. And so this would be a tough pill if they don't win this game. But if they win it, they can salvage the series. I like them today, the Colorado Rockies at plus 137. So that's my top play. That's a great value play there. Now, the other 2 side plays, I'm going to take another shot tonight with Madison Bumgarner. He's at home as a home dog against Ryu of the Dodgers. The Dodgers are overvalued, basically, and so I'm looking for spots against them when I think I can see a spot, and tonight is a spot. So we've got the Giants. Hopefully can take that series tonight behind their Hall of Famer left-hander who is looking for a bounce-back start. And then the last straight play that I had listed on the card, and this is another solid one, and this comes up at 12:40, so this is in 40 minutes. This is an early start today. This is the Diamondbacks trying to go 2 in a row over the Yankees, and this is Merrill Kelly, a good young pitcher for them who's been great. He's had some great outings, and he's going against Tanaka, and he's a small home dog. And Tanaka's, to me, a disappointment. His last start against the Angels, that's the only game they lost. He blew a 5-0 lead in the 6th inning. He let that get away. I don't like him. I don't like the Yankees in the National League ballpark. That showed last night, finally, with the Diamondbacks holding them to 1 run, and I think that'll show up again today. So the Diamondbacks are a strong straight play for me. Could have been a top play. And
All
so
right.
there's your 3 straight plays, Mike.
We get the parlay.
And I've got to mention the 3-team parlay that we put out. We've got Pittsburgh, which has already started. That was the first leg of it. So we're going to throw in a team to replace that. But what we've got ending it would be the Mets with DeGrom tonight. I'm still not worried about him. He's minus 190, so let's put him in a 3-teamer. And then Max Fried, F-R-I-E-D, is a really, really good left-handed pitcher for the Braves. As good a stuff as there is left-handed, I think, in the National League. And he will be at home against the Padres today. And the Padres throwing a guy named Cal Quantrill, who I think is the son of Paul Quantrill. Played with the Brewers for a long time. Cal is making his first start of the year. And I think this matchup favors the Braves very much. So I like the Braves. And then we can add in that White Sox game 1 as a third game because we need a game because you're not on Pittsburgh. That's already started. Or you can take Tampa in game 2. I think either one of those with the 2 I gave you would be a nice mix and match 3-team parlay.
All right, Bobby, what do we got for on this day?
On this day, Mike, this is a classic one. We had 3 names out there today that we could have gone with, but there's one I want to go with. And those 3 names are Mickey Mantle, Ricky Henderson, and Nolan Ryan. You can't go wrong with any 3. But the one I really want to go with, Mike, is Mickey Mantle. 1951, Baseball Hall of Fame slugger, Mickey Mantle hits his first career home run on Mother's Day, 1951. So is that written correctly? Could this be Mother's Day? I guess so, yeah.
Good.
On a different year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different day, different time. I think the thing that stands out most to me, which a lot of people miss, was the injury. Was it the 51 World Series?
Mike, I'm not sure on which World Series.
I'm pretty
it couldn't
sure
be 51 because this was the day in 1951 he hit his first career home
I know,
run.
but this would have been the World Series in 51. And
later the same year.
Yeah,
yes,
he was called up to the Yankees, I think, like a quarter of a way through the season. He hit like 267, nothing great, but he played well. And in the second game in the 1951 World Series, New York Yankee Giant rookie Willie Mays hits a fly ball to right center field. Mantle was playing right field. He raced for the ball, and together with center fielder Joe DiMaggio, and of course, Joe might have been a little mad because Mickey was coming to take his job, but he called for the ball and made the catch. And getting out of DiMaggio's way, Mantle tripped over an exposed drain pipe and severely injured his right knee. And I think this was the first of numerous injuries that plagued him during his 18-year career. And when you look at that, we never got to see a prime Mickey Mantle at his absolute best. And when you look at his numbers, I mean, he only had 2,400 hits, but he was a 7-time World Series champion, 20-time All-Star. He won the Triple Crown in 1956, 3-time AL MVP, won a Gold Glove, AL batting champ, and I think where this really hurt him was he had an average of 298, 2,400 hits, 536 home runs. So what is that? Almost 20% of his hits were home runs. And I think that he was arguably the greatest offensive threat of any center fielder in baseball history. He made the all-century team. And this is all while fighting debilitating knee injuries that battled him through his entire career, Bobby. And the question is, what happens if he doesn't step on that drain pipe?
Yeah, Mike, I did not know this story, and this story is oh gosh, I'm so glad that I learned about this. I knew about his knee problems and that he had, some injuries, and he also had some alcohol issues. Now, were the alcohol issues only post-retirement, or was he drinking a lot while he was playing?
I assume he was drinking when he was playing. Who wouldn't? I mean, chasing babes and drinking beer. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, the guy, his post-career later, way after, 50s and 60s years of age, I just remember an interview that he did with, was it Bob Costas, Tony Cooper? I think it was Bob Costas. He sat down and he cried, and he talked about, how he really wasn't a good dad, and had drank too much, and that he had so much more to give than what he actually even gave in life and on the field. Is how I took it, because this is a guy that hit 536 home runs, played with injuries, and played while drinking a lot, I think, and so I think he was reflecting back, and he didn't make the most of his potential, which was unbelievable. I mean, I don't know. I don't mean to put a downer on Mickey Mantle, but this is the grueling truth, right?
Well, I think the downer is this. I mean, most people have speculated he was a 19-year-old rookie in that World Series that tore his ACL. They couldn't fix that back then. And he played the rest of his career with debilitating knee injuries. And I know that it was said that, he had suffered so many acute and chronic injuries to bones and cartilage in his legs that he would actually apply these thick wraps to both of his knees, which became a pregame ritual for him. And I've seen a lot of historians talk about the what if he had not been injured and been able to lead a healthy career. And when you think about that, and you think about how he played without being healthy, this could have been the greatest baseball player that ever lived if he doesn't get hurt.
Absolutely, and he was also the couple of points that maybe a lot of people don't know. He was the fastest from home to first base in the league.
Yeah, and another injury. You remember Red Shanedeans?
Yes.
Okay, Red Shanedeans played for the Milwaukee Braves, second baseman. During the 1957 World Series, I forget which game it was, but he fell on Mantle's left shoulder in a collision at second base. And over the next decade, Mantle experienced increasing difficulty hitting from the left side because I think he was a switch hitter, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a switch hitter. And the left shoulder would have hurt him more for hitting from the right side, because it's the lead arm is the left arm from the right side.
Yeah, but I think it was his back arm that got hurt. Well, hold on.
Yeah,
here.
it was. But
if it's his left shoulder, his left shoulder, it would mean it was his back shoulder when he was batting left-handed.
Correct, yeah.
So I would imagine that means when you're swinging the bat, you got to be able to drive those shoulders through it, and I would think that the weakness there in that back shoulder, which was his left shoulder batting from the left side, is probably what gave him those troubles.
Well, possibly. I was just thinking sometimes that front arm, the front shoulder, is what holds onto the bat longer and extends through more.
I would think trouble with either shoulder, though, would make it really hard to hit.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
So
another thing, too, is I talked after Mantle, you talked his career, and now I'm going to talk a little bit before. Have you heard the story about how he almost quit and went home?
In the minor leagues?
Yeah, when he was in the minor leagues, he was a young kid, 18 years old.
I've heard it before, but I don't really remember it that well.
Yeah, I think he struck out 19 out of his first 22 at-bats or something in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I think Willie Mays did something similar to that and was almost close to going home, too, at one point, wasn't he?
Well, I hadn't heard that about Mays, but Mantle's story is that his father was a big role here, because he talked to his dad, and his dad said, okay, if you're going to, do that, you just go ahead and quit then. You come home and get your ass a job. I'll find you a truck driving job. You're not going to spend one day here not working. So if this is the way I've raised you, to not be a strong young man and be able to handle, the adversity here of baseball, get your ass home, stick you in a truck. I'll get you a job.
Yeah, I do remember
tomorrow.
that, Ray. Wasn't his dad's name like Mutt or something?
Yeah, it was like a different type of first name.
Yeah, like Mutt Mantle or something. I think I read a book about Mantle's life and read that where his dad basically drove to Kansas and basically convinced him to play just by threatening him that he'd have to come home and get a real job.
Yeah, he told him, get your ass in the truck, and we're going home now, and we're going to get you a job tomorrow. And otherwise, get through this. And he got through it, and the rest is history. And now we got a guy that's reminding people of Mickey Mantle. I don't know if it's because of the looks or if it's the whole package, but Mike Trout is the new Mickey Mantle. And that's I'm sure a lot of it has to do with his looks. They look similar, I guess. But Mike Trout is just this guy who could run, who can do it all, and what a compliment, because Mickey Mantle, I think, was the greatest player of all time.
The other thing I remember about Mantle from reading about him was the fact that he was actually a shortstop when he was in the minor leagues. And then the Yankees converted him in spring training the next year.
That I didn't know, but that makes sense because he ran so well.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because, let's face it, in every high school, usually the best baseball player is the shortstop, if you know what I mean. It's just look at all the guys you get in college football and the NFL who are great linebackers now or wide receivers, and they talk, well, in high school, he was the quarterback.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Hey, Mike, I'll give you one. Even Eric Weddle. Eric Weddle, the great safety for, all those years for San Diego, then Baltimore. Now the who got him? The Rams, right? The Rams just got him. So he's
the Ravens had him last year. I think the Rams did get him this year, though.
Right. He's been an All-Pro, right? Well, he attended a local high school here in the Inland Empire named Alta Loma High School. It's where my oldest son went, and I actually helped there a year. Before my son got there, I helped there a year in the baseball program. Eric Weddle was on that team. He was a junior on that team playing baseball, but football was his number one sport. So we lost him after the junior year. Then I left that school too. But after the junior year, he just focused on football. His senior year coming up and all those pre-camps and all that, and then baseball was gone. But he was played baseball. Then he was a quarterback. He was a two-way player in high school, played linebacker and quarterback. And so you're right. The best athletes so many times in high school played quarterback, and so many times
quarterback, shortstop, and then they pitch. I mean, hell, it's just how many quarterbacks you see where they talk about, well, he was a pitcher. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he was a pitcher. And the other thing that convinces me that it would have been great to see what Mickey Mantle could have done not hurt was Bill Dickey, who called him the greatest prospect I've ever seen in my lifetime. He said, I go back quite a ways. I swear, I expect to see the boy just take off and fly at any time. So
yeah, that's amazing.
And sports is filled with what could have been.
Yeah, and I think, you're right. I mean, that's the playgrounds all over New York City in basketball. There's so many diamonds in baseball everywhere of guys with great arms but just not good heads, and football.
Or just something happens. You get hurt.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. That's why it's so amazing that somebody can achieve that level, because a lot of that is how hard you're willing to work, but a lot of the other reason is just how lucky you are. Just having to be at the right place at the right time.
Absolutely, Mike, and it's just Mickey Mantle, great stuff. And I was going to bring up something else, and I forgot. I lost my train of thought, but maybe I'll get it here in a second. Why I lost my train of thought? The Royals held on to the 3-2 lead in the bottom 7 now. The Pirates just scored 4 in the fourth, so they took a 4-1 lead.
Well, that's good, because they were down 1-0. Yeah, I'm going to go watch that game when we get off here, and we're going to wrap it up. But
Pirates are 4-1.
I want to remind people that we will have, was it Phil Rankin from the Handicapping Guide?
Yeah.
Friday
Phil
night.
Rankin, yep.
Yeah, Friday night at 8 o'clock, we'll have Phil Rankin to talk Kentucky Derby. We're going to break down the entire race. We'll go through the entire field. May have a special guest or two with him, so make sure you check us out 8 o'clock Eastern Friday night for the Grueling Truths Kentucky Derby special. Tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern time, we'll have Inside Boxing Weekly with me, Jeremiah Price, or John Einreinhofer. Tomorrow at noon, me and Steve Risley on Survive and Advance will have an NHL playoff recap and preview of what's going on in the NHL. And then Bobby will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern to give us the top plays of the day. All right, you can follow Bobby Sheridan at Sheridan Report on Twitter, or go to thesheridanreport.com to pick up Bobby's newsletter, which will give you the picks every night for the next day. So like today, you listen to the show, you missed out on a couple picks because the show started after a couple games had already started. If you want to get all those picks the night before or real early in the morning on the East Coast the next day, make sure you check out the Sheridan Report. $10 a day will get you to report daily, or $50 for the entire month. So make sure you check that out. Also go to MyBookie.Ag, where you get a cashback deposit. It's 100%. up to $300 on your first deposit. So if you put $300 in, you'll actually have $600 to play with. 100 gives you 200. You get the idea. We are going to go ahead and wrap the show up for now, and hopefully go watch the Pirates beat the Rangers. What?
Yeah, I got real quick one, Mike. Can I disclose who we're supposed to have on Friday night with Phil? Because I think it's pretty much confirmed through Phil. Is that can I expose that one name?
Sure.
The fans can look it up. His name is Vince DeGregory, and he's one of the leading jockey agents of all time, if not the leading jockey agent. He's had 7 Hall of Famers ride for him, and one of the Hall of Famers we're trying to get on. You have a source with him, and then so does Vince DeGregory, obviously. So we haven't got a confirmation from that Hall of Fame jockey.
Because you told me not to. You said you wanted to wait because you just wanted to have Vince and Phil.
Oh, that's right. We're going to wait. That's right, Mike. We're going to wait. Yeah, we're going to wait because we want to give Vince a real good opportunity to talk. He's 80-something years old now, and he enjoys talking about his time in horse racing. I didn't want to have that overshadowed by this famous jockey, which we'll get on another show.
Maybe we'll try to get him for the
You're
Preakness.
Right,
but, all right, guys.
Yeah, I'll get him for the Preakness.
We're going to wrap the show up. Remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Zeno Live Radio, and 220 other outlets now you can find us. So basically, if you're looking for podcasts, you're looking for The Grueling Truth, you'll be able to find us there. Remember, make sure you go to Twitter. Steve Risley's Twitter handle is srisley34. And make sure you demand that he shows up in Vegas to play me in cornhole and hashtag it as Steve's a Wuss. All right, so we're going to wrap the show up right now.
WUSS, Wuss.
Yes, WUSS, Wuss. So make sure we keep calling Steve Risley out because I just want to go to the hotel that Elvis played at.
Heck yes, Mike. The ballroom's still there.
Yep, but we all know Steve's going to be too chicken for it. So, or maybe you could hashtag cluck, cluck, cluck. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up.
I offered him a Donnie Marie tickets. I mean, I thought that would get him to go, so maybe he'll still go.
Well, maybe
he talks about Donnie Marie so much.
I know. I don't want Donnie Marie tickets. I'm good. All right, guys. And no offense to Donnie Marie. I know Donnie listens to all the shows, so I'm sorry, Donnie. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Make sure you check us out tomorrow, 2 o'clock, with me and Bobby on the Sheridan Report. For Bobby Sheridan, I'm Mike Goodpastor. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.